What's up, guys? Welcome to Jets of Time for a special celebration stream showcase race tonight. I am the AcidCrab. I am joined here with my partner on commentary, Cryomonoxide. Cryo, how are you doing today?
I'm ready to travel through time to fight a giant space bug.
Absolutely, or a baddie in Queen Seal. But we're going to get ready for some race action here between Nate and OneFreeFritz in this Lost Worlds showcase race, as it is a special day today. It is the 6-year anniversary of Lost Worlds being added to Jets of Time as a game mode. Ansky, the original developer of Jets of Time, added Lost Worlds in when he was the main dev. And it's been 6 years, so I just wanted to celebrate that with this new flag set. And we're going to go ahead and shoot the go-ahead to our runners here as far as starting the timer to have their countdown. And we'll be getting started here pretty shortly. Lost Worlds is a pretty interesting mode where you never get access to 600 or 1000 AD. So you will only see those late game 5 dungeons and go mode, but it can be pretty tough. Finding the right techs and the right team as we start this seed. Of course, we start with that Melchior shop. That gives us access to revives and shelters right at the start, and we get a Chrono Luca start, which is a pretty great start.
I'm never sad at seeing Luca ever.
No, you're usually pretty happy to see her. We see Fitz grabbing the speed tab off Death's Peak as Nate runs to the, or power tab, you're right, as Nate heads into the sewers to grab the loot there. Loot is very stingy in Lost Worlds, so doing these extra item checks can be key to get yourself some good helmets, armor, and weapons, especially early on in the seed. But Fitz is heading straight for our first character recruitment. With Chrono Luca, your third option is pretty open. Who are some characters you would be kind of hoping to see as that third option, Cryo?
Anybody that's got a good AoE heal. Honestly, you have very good damage output in both physical and magic. Chrono, while being inaccurate early, starting at a higher level definitely reduces that problem. So I mean, Robo here is actually really good in my opinion. You got an AoE heal. You have decent dual techs. And you have an option of a very powerful single damage dealer and Uzi Punch, possibly. Because with tech damage rando, everything and anything goes.
Yeah, tech damage rando really makes you kind of have to find the good stuff, find your good dual techs, the ones that'll get you through late game before you can really do it. And it looks like that Robo find has Fitz maybe thinking some of these chests could be even more valuable, because it could be that Robo ribbon.
Yeah, Robo's ribbon would be very, very strong. Because Robo, being notoriously slow, it's always nice to be able to get his speed up as well as his overall damage and tankiness. So Robo's ribbon, in my opinion, is one of the strongest items you can get, especially if Robo's going to be your healer. Or even damage dealer, for that matter. So we have Fizz going to prehistory. Let's see what this rock is.
Yeah, this rock can be really helpful because with gear rando, it can have additional effects. Now, a big part of this is going to be watching to see what techs have rolled those really high MP rolls. Looking at Fire 2 for dual techs or Flare for just overall power, like individually for Luca. As Nate now finds his Robo at the end of those loot checks. Fitz is heading up Dactyl to get the next character. That's going to get us 3 more chests and another character option.
We'll see how this goes, because like also some of these, I mean, again, as you said, with weaponry, armor, and all that being fairly scarce, something like even a white male minus having any amount of elemental protection is never a bad thing.
The number of seeds in Lost Worlds that I walk into endgame with somebody wearing their starting helm is astounding. So, like, every little bit can help, and so it's finding that perfect mix of chests you don't have to go way out of your way for. Great skips by Fitz as Nate finds that white rock as well. Or that rock plus.
See if we get this one.
Yeah, he's got a little bit different setup using the ramp of that.
Yeah, as long as you got to make sure you're very careful, because that's exactly what happens.
Okay, we got a 15 Uzi punch on Robo.
So that's vanilla Uzi, isn't it?
Yeah, it's strong. It's good. It's reliable, especially this early. But it does mean you need an arm, because it's not like Robo Tackle where you can just level it to do more damage.
Oh, there's an Isla.
Ayla's a good option here. So our character options, just to keep up with the tracker here, we have Chrono, Luca, Ayla, and Robo are our only 4 party members that we're going to get access to in this seed. And that is another part of Lost Worlds that can be a little tricky to manage when you're first starting out. Is we get awful used to being able to find whatever teams we like. And so when you have a mode that kind of forces you to play with what hand you're given, it can be really tricky to find those moments. So Nate has a little bit of a loot advantage on Fitz, and Fitz is looking to do at least part of Forest Maze before probably heading into Reptite, and we'll see where they go from there, because there's a lot of splitting that can happen in Lost Worlds, because you're pretty quickly strong enough to go to whatever dungeon you want to, depending on your team. Since vanilla bosses are in play, we can do a lot of planning around what tools we have.
And the one big benefit here and with Luca is, say if you decide you want to drop Chrono, that's not that big of a deal. You'll still have a way to damage Nizbel.
Yeah.
So with physically though, you'll still have an option with so it looks like Nate's actually going to opt to keep Robo over Isla. I honestly, with the way these teams work, like synergize, I think both options are correct. Like there's no wrong combination here.
Here we see Fitz kind of going through his techs. The tech rolls could make a big difference, because you need at least one dual tech to rely on in the game, in my opinion. You can get away with strong individual techs on like 1 or 2 of your characters, but you really need at least one of those dual techs that you can take in either single target or AoE, depending, which go modes you end up going. But it's going to be interesting to see if they settle on the same team or not. Nate running through Forest Maze.
Not a whole heck of a lot, though. It seems like Forest Maze was a little bit of a bust today.
A little bit, yeah. Ooh, blue vest plus, though, is pretty handy.
Any elemental protection is good elemental protection.
Yeah, if we ended up going like a Black Omen go mode, blue mail or black mails would be very powerful for that. And then, of course, there's other things that would come in handy. Red mails and things would come in handy if we end up having to go through those twin golems. As we head into our first dungeon here. Now, to talk about Lost Worlds for a second here, you have 5 dungeons available to you. You have Reptite Lair, which has this nifty grind at the front of it and towards the end of it. You also have Mount Woe, you have Genodome, you have Eris Dome, and you have Sun Palace. Those are the only 5 dungeons that we could see in this run. Now there's 5 key items as well. It's the Ruby Knife and the Dreamstone to get Tyranno Lair go mode. We also could find the Clone and the Chrono Trigger to go Black Omen. And the pendant is hidden somewhere in the seed as well. The pendant gives access to all the sealed doors in the future, but it also gives access to a portal to the fair to access more shops if needed. So that's something we may or may not see come into play. Now, Nate spending almost no time grinding here, running straight down. Fitz taking a little bit more time to set up his party before heading down towards our good friend Nizbol. We'll have to watch for secret tunnel action as well.
Secret tunnel. Get the
Oh, there's that Robo Ribbon at the bottom of Reptite Lair. It's pretty nifty.
Oh, giving yourself sunshades is always good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Especially sunshades that increase your speed.
Yeah, especially in Lost Worlds, because speed is so important in this game in general in Jets of Time. And in Lost Worlds, there are only 2 guarantee speed tabs, and they're both out of the way. One of them's inside of Genodome, and the other is in Zeal. So you would have to go all the way up there, which sometimes can be well worth it, but we see Nate heading straight into Nizbol. Fitz still grinding here, which is probably honestly where I'd be at too. So hopefully Nate is strong enough to push through this spiny jerk. I do like that we've settled on different parties here with Robo and Ayla.
Fire Punch rolled very good. I don't know if you saw
Right, Fitz is leaving the grind to take the free heal. He did equip Ribbon right before this Nizbol fight. We've got Cyclone hitting for 200. Mega Bomb is old reliable for Luca and a lot of these Lost World seeds. The number of times I've had it roll and just be consistent damage is amazing. Fitz finding those ethers in the shop, nabbing those before looks like looking for that secret tunnel. It's paid off for him in a number of the asyncs over the last few weeks. For him to get astounding gear from speed tabs to dash rings to prism specs. Nizbel is in trouble. So is Chrono. And Luca. This fight could turn on Nate quickly. And it has. Nate resets, get a better start on that. As Fitz continues searching for that tunnel. Let me know in chat, which team would you have taken into this Nizbal fight? And Nizbal can be kind of a scary fight because you can be really close to killing him, and his your choice not to heal earlier in the fight can come back to bite you over 200 or 300 health. So it's really interesting to see this go. Fitz really wants the secret tunnel to work out. It certainly Ribbon doesn't make Robo faster than Ayla, but I think it does make him more he's more independent than Ayla. Secret tunnel.
A green dream. I will never be upset at seeing those ever.
But Robo is a lot more capable of standing next to a good duel party and just punching and doing his own thing the whole fights and being useful that way than I think Ayla can be sometimes. Ayla is a little bit more limiting. It feels like there's more fights where Ayla has to just watch and throw items.
Which is never fun.
No. But is necessary sometimes. OneFreeFritz continuing further into the reptite layer. Getting a sight cap with protection from chaos. Nate just hammering away at Nizbal and finishing him off. We will have to see where he heads next. I could certainly smell a choice to go to Genodome or Mount Woe with these teams. But we'll have to see.
The Ruby Knife.
A Ruby Knife. All right. And Fitz about to find that Robo Ribbon as well. Nate looking to Aristone, at least to shop. Maybe just to run in. This is a team that could hammer away at Guardian pretty well. But we would be coming in without Pendant, which would make the loot a little less grand. Yeah, Falcon Hit can be an incredible dual tech for this mode.
Falcon Hit's buff in the regular randomizer, just the fact that it hits everything made it my favorite dual tech in the game, bar none. But then you add the fact that if it rolls high, suddenly it's also not just low level board sweep; it can just kill everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It can get you through places like Genodome or Woe that can be otherwise pretty challenging. Nate hammering away at the bits as Fitz takes care of this fight right before Reptite. Fitz has a decent level advantage compared to where Nate was at walking into this same fight. Oh, we do see party swap. See Robo hitting the floor.
This is one of those fights that having Luca in just makes you a little sad because Guardian is immune to fire.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Luca kind of feels like Ayla does.
It's okay, Luca. You're still best grill. And with 3 HP left, break down.
All right, we'll see how that pays off. I smell a pendant, but I have literally no reason to think that. But I did see a prism helm drop. I think there.
An Eon helm and a prism helm. It's yeah.
Nate's got hats for days. Yeah, it is a little bit of a shame to go through here without getting the sealed door bonus. But if this is pendant, you can always drop right back in. You don't, obviously you wouldn't hope for it to be that. As Nate continues into the deep part of Aristome.
Would you say it sounds fire?
I would, yes. I'm pretty bad about if I have to come through Aristome. I almost said Peristome. If I have to come through Aristome without pendant, half the time I head towards that door already anyway, just from autopilot, and I have to like, no, back this way.
So with Nizbel down, we know that Fitz is about to get the ruby knife.
Yeah, that fight still took some time, even on Fitz's side, with the extra levels, and he can be a bear. But Nate finishing off Aristome and being rewarded with what will it be? A Dreamstone. That's a go mode, but that's a scary early go mode. You haven't done dungeons that have been tech point or XP efficient enough to run straight for go mode here.
Yeah,
he's got to look for a grind. It may be mutant grind. It could be front of conveyor or reptite, but he's got to look to do something.
Yeah, seeing an early go mode like that is a blessing and a curse.
Fitz doing what I think is a pretty standard play for this flag set for Lost Worlds right now, which is choosing one of those big tech point dense dungeons as your second option. I've seen a lot of it in the asyncs the last few weeks from a few different runners where Woe or Gino will come up second, but he may just be shopping. So we'll see if he actually does it. I know I've seen him do it as second check before on Fitz. Both of them take an opportunity to do just a little bit of shopping as Nate looks to prehistory, ready to prove me wrong.
I mean,
and Fitz does. Oh, go ahead.
Probably checking the what's for sale. Well, what you can trade at the trade in. Sadly, not much. Yeah, so I figured this was if you're gonna choose a grind spot, either go to Woe from here because Woe is amazing for points, but if you aren't comfortable in being able to do this quick, don't try because Woe can be a very, very painful encounter.
Yeah, it would be hard to push a woe. Hard to push a woe for just the grind, but you absolutely could. The conveyor of Geno and a couple inside fights would leave you quite a bit. Like it'd leave you like a dungeon stronger, pretty close to it. But you'd have to know you had techs that would one shot or two shot the fights inside, and you don't always have that. But Nate taking the safe play, he knows this fight's valuable. He can run in, he can do that. As Fitz heads up into Woe, and we'll see where that leads us. Because Nate is not out of the woods, because he still has a tough go mode with not a lot of HP right now.
Right now, the big thing is to try to get your sweeper up, like a higher damaging sweeper, because Lightning 2 is only two-shotting the Weevils, and that's not very quick. And, of course, Luca being slower, you know, you're not going to really get out of it quickly. You want to, the faster the better. So now Lightning 2 with a couple levels is now one-shotting it, so at least we have that going for the grind.
Yeah, and that's huge. That'll go a long way towards making this quicker.
I didn't see if the Rebels dropped anything. I don't know if I didn't see if they beat them. But worst case scenario is, worst case scenario is still a decent amount of experience and a lot of tech points. So it's another Robo down, or at least a Robo down. No, it's just experience and tech points.
And the 20 cost Dino Tail, making sure that that's set up to be able to do elevator, it looks like, for Ocean Palace on Nate's side.
Yeah, that's definitely going to reduce the requirements needed to make that happen.
Yeah, so the next thing you're thinking about, in Nate's position, you're thinking about Black Tyranno boss fight, and you're thinking about Twin Golems. Anything else on kind of the path until Twin Golems is nothing to worry about except those two fights. Those two fights are like what you're building for. Because Black Tyranno can be a wall. And Twin Golems, you have to almost adjust your strategy around fighting Twin Golems. And a lot of times switch your gear around fighting it. So,
yeah. And most notably, we already have one White Vest. So if Chrono decides to go caster route against him, you have literally just a time sink. It's not necessarily a difficult fight. Like, regardless of tech, if you can just cycle out, get your lightning going, and you have enough lightning protection, you just have to make sure you have the timing set up to always end on lightning. So, as I said, elemental resistance is never something I scoff at. I play multi-worlds. I play literally like almost everything. I have yet to really get into this, but it looks like a lot of fun. I definitely like the idea of the game mode where your focus is places you normally want to avoid at early levels. But here you go. You don't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, it really kind of... the other thing it does is it makes you practice go mode dungeons, which is really nice. Like, especially if you're new, like, it's hard. Lost Worlds can be a brutal mode that just doesn't give you stuff. And sometimes they can be really hard. But you get really good at endgame, because that's all this is like preparing for endgame and endgame. It's precision based. It's like, or not precision based, it's execution based. I find the boss fights almost feel like vanilla. in that like you're trying to figure out what works on them and what you have and what you can try, and like you don't always know what your good techs are going to be until you start playing and you find them, and like I really enjoy that aspect of it, as Fitz makes great time through this first half of Mount Woe.
And it's just got that the band suit. Now it did roll minus, but it did keep its +3 speed, which on Luca is a godsend.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is why Mount Woe is known for its loot. It's like Fitz grabbing a couple extra fights on the way up here as well, intentionally.
I don't disagree with that. As long as you're not doing any of the fights like with the Phantom Imps, because any fight that takes multiple rounds, just guaranteed off the bat, is annoying. But yeah, with the Stone Imps, it's no problem, and you know they are everything up here is worth decent experience. And I mean, the fact that something's dropping Hyper Ethers is awesome. I think it's the Stone Imps dropping them. Okay, well, it looks like Nate feels leveled up enough and is ready to go.
Nate is looking at that go mode. And while Fitz continues up Mount Woe and Nate starts traveling up the Black Tyranno, I want to let you guys know about another challenge that's going to be coming up here shortly. We have an event coming up in June called the Lost Worlds Clash. It's a casual racing event where you'll play through a number of asyncs to get placed against an opponent that you'll race live. And then the winners of their live races will go on to one final async. But it's really just about learning the flag set, getting people involved, and all skill levels are welcome, because we will be trying to use those asyncs to place you against people at the same skill level as you, so that live race will be something you can really work towards and try to get good for. So just wanted to announce that here on the anniversary of Lost Worlds. And
Blade is a bear. Oh wow,
that's amazing. As Nate sets the Dreamstone and continues up. So if you're interested, you need to get yourself the Lost Worlds Racer role on the Discord. You can ask in Lost Worlds, or you can message me, but we'll get you added to that. And there's a chat where you can read the rules docs and all of that. So hopefully it'll be something. Hopefully it'll be something we can all have fun with. And at the end of this race, when one of the racers finishes, we'll pull that image up and put it over that screen so that you'll be able to see that at the end as well.
I will say, if nothing else, gear-wise, this has been an amazing dive for Fist, because that Terra Arm is very good. That Collie Blade is very good. It's going to help overall damage output by a significant amount.
Nate making short work of this climb up Tyranno Lair, as Fitz prepares to face the terrifying Giga Gaia, who can really, really be trouble. He's got a good amount of health, and he's got pretty good armor and gear, so I think he's prepared. But this fight can really mess you up if you're not.
Rocket Punch hitting for a cool almost 1,000. Now we got Luca coming back in because, just like I said earlier, being able to hurt Nisbel even without reducing Nisbel's defense is always extremely helpful.
Fitz is getting these hands from Giga Gaia as Nate continues through Nisbel 2. This is
Here's
kind of a
a
wild find from Nate on the routing here.
For anyone who ever wondered this about Giga Gaia, you will never counterattack the hand attacks. The reason for that is the hand attacks are coded in the game to come up as counterattacks to themselves. And as the game is programmed, counterattacks can't be counterattacked.
Nisbel 2 is down on Nate's side. That's going to bring us to our wall of the run, our potential wall here of Black Tyranno. As OneFreeFritz continues hammering away at Giga Gaia. And I wonder what he's hoping to find up here. If he's looking for that Dreamstone. But Nate just nailing skip after skip on the way up Tyranno.
Giga Gaia is down.
Good stuff. There's Flare and Heal Beam getting added to Fitz's arsenal here. And now Nate in the unfortunate fight where if you run, I think you get 2 of this enemy if you run. But maybe it happens anyway. Oh, it does.
Yep.
For some reason I thought it was a punishment for running. Fitz getting the pendant and going to grab those sealed doors.
Not yet.
And may look at Eris or Sun Palace next.
Another Kali Blade.
Yeah.
Now, I do feel it pertinent to mention that because of the lack of levels, this, just because they're in Gomo does not mean anything here. The danger is very real in the endgame dungeons.
Yes. Yeah, because we don't know how Black Tyranno is going to be.
I mean, it's a huge damage check as it is. And then the fact that it's a damage check, first off, if you can't beat it to its ultimate attack and it one-shots you, that is a very frustrating feeling. And I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me. It's unpleasant. But gets to skip the second time and has a couple more levels to their name. See how this plays out.
Yeah, because Fitz is going to be right on the same path as Nate with the addition of this extra stuff he's getting from the sealed doors, the extra stuff he found on Woe, and like you said, the levels. He's not going to have to go to Reptite and kind of do that first fight a bunch of times. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out.
I also feel it pertinent to mention the gear for Fitz is significantly better.
Yeah. It's just Nate really pushed his advantage when he found that early go mode, and it's a question of has he pushed that advantage fast enough while still getting enough XP and tech points to successfully make it through everything without it being like a long, arduous battle. You know what I mean? Whereas Fitz has that extra XP from that really efficient, encounter for encounter efficient tech point dungeon in WoW.
And the countdown begins. This is where you
Yes.
make sure you...
This is where you need to win this damage race.
Yes.
546 on Super Vault.
Luminaire hitting for 546. Fire Punch hitting for almost 2,000. So as long as you can keep your damage output going, Lightning hitting also, but with a much faster casting time. So I definitely agree with switching to Lightning. It's hitting for about as much as Luminaire.
Fire Punch 1, I think, was doing pretty solid. Yeah. So that's an excellent switch up. And honestly, that's like a big part of Lost Worlds for me anyway, is like damage checking things. Just like in some of these bosses, trying a couple techs. Because just because you saw what a tech did in your first dungeon doesn't mean that once you get some new gear and some levels under your belt, like it's not a good tech now. And so some of the techs are kind of hard to catch that with. We got a question in chat about, do you ever build to tank the Black Tyranno attack? And yes, I've seen runs, some of the fastest Jets of Time seeds I've ever seen that went through Black Tyranno, where they were like 120s and pretty close to that area. It was Sunshades dropping off it. But some of those, you ended up having to barrier for that last fight or use Magic Wall on Magus to be able to survive because you weren't going to win the damage race if the health rolled like 12k or something. So good question, and something we may run into in the Lost Worlds Clash. Yes, or tailspin spam. Fire Whirl, you can sneak in a few thousand damage while killing Azala. And then you can try to win the countdown that way. Nate, looking at the shop at WoW, it looks like. So anybody interested in that Lost Worlds Clash event or more info, let me know in the Discord and I will get you the role so that you can access the chat and see what it's all about. It's a casual racing event coming up in June. It'll involve 2 asyncs a week for 3 weeks and then a live race. So it could be a great introduction to racing if you haven't raced before, or a great introduction to Lost Worlds if you're looking for something new. As Nate heads to Inhasa, very valuable stop. Being able to get another speed tab. So I guess I'm wrong. I said earlier there were 2 guaranteed speed tabs. I think there's 3 because you get one from this new fight as well in Lost World, or in all modes, but in Lost Worlds it's very handy. And you also have this shop that can sometimes be the only place ethers are.
Mid-ethers, at least.
Yeah. I would certainly be grabbing a few mid-ethers so that I wouldn't have to feel bad about wasting them.
I like that silver stud pickup.
Yeah, there's one in
Yes,
Genodome. There's one in Inhasa, and then there's one at the what's the town that's not in Hasa in Zeal? I cannot think of it, but the town where the 2 new shop is. Kajar.
Yes. Thank you, Betsy.
Jafar.
Yes, Return of Kajar.
Yes. Starring Homer Simpson as the genie.
Yes. Dan Castellaneta trying to be relevant.
Yes. Fitz getting into the habit from Giant's Claw for a moment there. I've done it myself. But is making short work of his run up here as Nate heads into Kajar to get that other speed tab. And Luca is going to be booking.
Checking the new shop, which always want to do both of them. Lapises, I don't disagree with picking up a handful of those.
Yeah. You kind of have a Lapis in Robo anyway, but even so, it's nice to be able to throw one out, especially with how fast Luca is being made. It's nice to have the opportunity to throw one out as her too.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a world in which you want to make sure you try to get at least one of those amulets, because if obstacle rows something really nasty, you want to have somebody to protect you. The investors, I like to call them piles of money. I doubt we're going to see a rock pickup.
Nate getting ready for the single golem guarding the door into Ocean Palace as Fitz fights Nizbal 2 before continuing towards that scary Black Tyranno that he should have pretty well under control. Nate is missing a lot of techs. Like, if we look at Ayla specifically, she only has those first 3 techs. I know she wasn't in the party for a good long while. But that does kind of limit his ability to switch into her reliably, though she does have that dino tail for the elevator. Fitz is level 27. Heading upstairs here. Have to keep an eye and see if we can catch what level Nate is in Black Omen when he goes to check at the grind spot. If he even stops there.
Now, even in the vanilla rando, having Luca for this fight is incredibly powerful, because fire is the easiest to work with out of his elemental contacts. Like, if he hits you, like, you're just like, oh, I'm not as worried. Like, lightning, ice, all of those really hurt. Also, leaving him on physical is a bad idea.
Yeah. Fire and water and ice flipping between them can be nice, because you can keep them just doing single target attacks. But obviously we don't have the tools to be able to do that this seed. But you're absolutely right. Like, leaving on physical is really scary. And Nate is going to get through it without issue as the burp comes out. And Fitz heads into that Black Tyranno fight.
This went, well, there's the Collie Blade for Nate now. excellent pickup for physical damage, as we have seen. But when it comes to weapons for Chrono, Chrono has the highest pool of usable weapons for endgame. Because Chrono, I believe, has the most weapons in the game. Now, here's going to be something to really know, is that elevator fight is going to suck for Nate.
He may switch Ayla in before it, because he's already got Dino Tail on her. But we'll have to see if he actually does that or not. Safe Helm.
Yeah, Safe Helm +1 already has ridiculously high defense, but also the fact that it gives you safe. It's one of the best helmets in the game. I personally think, besides Prism helms, my favorite helmet will always be Haste helms.
Oh yeah, speed is the single most powerful stat in this game, both offensively and defensively. Just makes a huge difference in the number of turns as Fitz takes down the Black Tyranno, kind of stomping through it to follow Nate to this Ocean Palace.
Enemies have some good drops here. Just off full ether.
Nate coming for the hidden chest, getting a full ether for his trouble. Could very well come into play later in the run.
I don't think if there's any time I've ever said, "Oh man, I got a full ether."
No, but I've definitely said, "Oh, thank goodness I have this" in the middle of a Lavos fight. But you're right. I never say it when I get it out of the chest.
Like, darn, I have more. Jeez.
I had a seed recently of Lost Worlds where I went way out of my way selling items to buy 2 Mega Elixirs, only to find 3 on the back half of Black Omen. And then I just had to use them in menu glitch, so I felt like I wasn't wasting time. Fitz making a good play coming for that speed tab. It's right here. And every bit helps as he checks out that new shop. The funny thing is, I wouldn't feel behind as Fitz here, because a low second is a very natural play with how fast this team was and how good they were. It's just a matter of, like, was Nate able to grind efficiently enough to make that play not work out? And we're going to find out, as Nate has made it to this grind spot and he can choose when to go down and tackle the rest of this seed.
It's actually having enough for amulet. And slow and stop the helmets. I 100% like the choices Fitz has made. If you don't have enough for 3 amulets, sometimes also leaving amulets off, just protecting against more detrimental stats effects, is definitely worth it. So I'll be the first person to tell you, slow and stop. That could be, well, stop more than slow, obviously. It could be a real run killer.
Even slow. Slow can be brutal. Slow can absolutely just, like, it can take a team with, like, average speed and make, like, it so much more dangerous for that team. It's wild. You're absolutely right. And finding out what that obstacle is going to be, is going to be super helpful and impactful for the end of this race.
It's opting to put the speed tab into Chrono.
Interesting. Kind of doing what I like to do in these fights, scouting his dual techs a little bit, figuring out what's going to be useful for these late game fights as Nate continues to grind. Reminder, folks, we are below 55 minutes into the seed and at the grind spot. Yeah, this is pretty wild. Like, I'm usually looking to finish my second check by 40 minutes, and that's not always go mode. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But these runners have just sprinted forward, gotten themselves just strong enough to push through. And then Fitz is just sprinting through these bosses.
Yeah, like, He's
made up a lot of time.
Yeah, is Fitz going to hit the grind spot, or does Fitz already feel at a high enough level to beat?
That's a really, really good question, because Nate is leaving the grind spot now, but there's not like a huge time difference now. Like, it felt like there was a whole Tyranno layer there, and it doesn't feel that way anymore. You know what I mean? Fitz has done an amazing job of pushing his level advantage in these fights.
And with Fitz already having decent equipment, will Fitz do as many item checks?
So I had an opportunity yesterday to talk to Ansky, who's the original developer for Jets of Time. Still active in the community. But he is the one that added Lost Worlds and like designed Lost Worlds and added it to the game, right? And so I for the anniversary, I took a minute to ask him if there was anything about like creating it that he kind of wanted me to mention in chat here, which is he wanted people to know he made it inspired by the dark world of Master of Magic from the game Master of Magic. And he wanted to make kind of a hard mode flag set for Chrono Trigger without trying to change the game too much. He also felt Pendant was so iconic that it had to be a part of Lost Worlds, and it has only gained usefulness since, as we've continued kind of making changes to Lost Worlds and dialing it into what it's become now. But I just wanted to take a minute to let you guys know that on this 6-year anniversary.
Jazer had a question in chat. This is only 2 levels down. Would the equipment make a difference? Good enough equipment can very much make a difference. Specifically, notably, the status effect protection with obstacle.
Yeah, once we know what obstacle is, we'll know how big of a difference status protection makes. But it could range from not like making almost no difference to being the decider of the race. Also, fun fact, Ansky chose for us to start in 2300 because that was his favorite time period in Lost Worlds. So I thought that was a pretty neat reason. And he felt it was an iconic area. OneFreeFritz hitting that grind spot. We are below 1 hour as Nate drops down the elevator and Fitz decides if he's grinding to try to get closer to Fire 2, which is just eluding him. You kind of have an idea of how many tech points you get once you leave this place. I think it's not quite 500. And so you can kind of decide how many fights you want to take here. Yeah, spin cuts last and fire 2's last, and you kind of want both of them. Yeah, 20 MP Dino Tail. So that's going to get us through this elevator pretty well. Nate's probably feeling pretty good about this. To give you an idea on times, I see a lot of Lost Worlds runs right about that 1 hour 20-minute mark. I would say is about the average for a good runner, like for runners that know the mode well. And we've seen times below that. We've seen a lot of like 117s, a lot of 116s. We've seen 108 in the current Lost Worlds flag set. Nate finishing up the elevator. Yeah, 108 is wild.
Skip. That skip is a lot.
Scatter skip.
It looks.
It's all in the walk. It's all in that walk down from the button to the scouter. But once you get it, it is a tricky skip. But it sure feels good when you nail them. Nate heading to the twin golem spot, and we will see if he's prepared for what he'll meet.
We'll see what's in the last chest too. Just a Mega Blast. Opting to keep Ayla.
If Rolo Kick rolled well, that's a good flame kick.
Seeing
when we
Boogie
get Fire 2. Yeah, Boogie is an incredible tech when you know Twin Golems is coming. That is why he switched her in. I can all but guarantee that she got switched in for Boogie because he knew what he was facing in here.
I don't disagree with this.
That was a good play. Old school. And then we see the Twister.
Dealing halfway decent damage.
You love to see it.
Yes, validation Twister. I will accept this. We got Volt Bite doing that much. Okay.
Volt Bite is goated in Lost Worlds sometimes. There's one seed it was doing like 4,700 in one of the asyncs. So when you find those really good techs, you gotta find them and you gotta run with them.
The dream is to always
hitting hard.
Yeah, the dream is to always get a Luca and an Ayla with a 20 MP Tailspin and then a 20 MP Fire 2. Everything just kind of cries in your general direction.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because in tech damage rando, you almost want Luca to roll a better Fire 2 than Flare. Because, like, while there are some good dual techs that use Flare, there's just a ton of dual techs that use Fire 2, which gives you a bunch of chances for really high rolls. Nate cleaning up Twin Golems here. As Fitz Dino tails his way down the elevator, right on Nate's tail. Nate's got level 30 to 33 on his party, 30 on Ayla. Nate heading into the lava shell fight. This is going to be a crazy finish. Wow. Fitz cleans up the elevator like a late night janitor in a high rise as Nate heads into this giant cosmic tick. We are just at 1 hour and 5 minutes 30 seconds as these racers are heading into endgame against these last couple brutal boss fights.
That Volt bite hitting like a truck. All right, we're about to see what obstacle rolled. In theory, we were just going to see what obstacle rolled.
Yeah, if that tick doesn't die first. Oh, here. Nothing. Nate heading into the last save point. Fitz also finding the boogie strat and hammering away at these twin golems.
Yeah, don't usually see Hypno Wave too frequently, but it's definitely good to have an emergency button.
Absolutely. Makes a huge difference.
My personal favorite boss music in the game.
It's pretty great, isn't it?
World Revolution's pretty good.
Nate trying to take out those arms.
Yeah, those boomerangs still hurt.
Yes, they sure do. You aren't lying about that.
And golems are down.
Got one arm down, one chrono down, and one robo getting slapped. And Fitz starting that Lavos 1 now. We have dueling Lavoses as the obstacle comes out from Lavos 1. And it's slow.
Not the worst thing in the world, but definitely not pleasant.
Not pleasant, but this team can probably deal with it. You're right.
This is why Ayla is actually pretty good, because her Kiss, while being an okay heal, also clears status effects.
Yeah, that's huge. Very huge.
Got a reset on Fitz's side.
Yeah, just setting up a little different, going back in. Looks like.
Shadow Doom Blaze.
Ooh, it's heavy too. Big attacks coming out from Nate with the almost 3K hammering away at Lavos 2. And so keep in mind, Fitz did an entire Mount Woe that Nate didn't. And it's still this close. I think that just kind of goes to show like the value of getting those tech points and XP.
That's Lavos 2 down. Let's see if Nate can get the menu push.
This has been a great showcase from a couple of the best Lost Worlds runners in these past few week asyncs. And if you're interested, if this seems like something that you could sink your teeth into, not only is the Lost Worlds Clash coming up that you could hop into and get paired with somebody about your skill level for some racing, But also, we will have, there's an async open now in the Jets of Time Discord where you can hop in and play one of these now and see how you rank with the others. As Nate heads into Lavos 3, and Fitz is set up and ready for this Lavos shell. That is shell down for Fitz. Gonna bring him that last save point, and that puts us a wipe away on Nate's side of the screen here as Ayla takes a short nap. If things kind of turn bad in this Lavos 3 fight, we could have a neck-and-neck race again. And Lavos has a nasty habit to do so.
Please don't target this person. It'd be a real shame if I targeted this person.
Yeah. I'm convinced there's a microphone that hears you say, like, don't hit Luca. And that tells it to target Luca.
Whoever your main caster is, just pray that Lavos is nice to them.
Taking down that center bit as Fitz heads into this Lavos 2 fight. Lavos 2 can be a rough fight for certain teams, especially.
Isla taking a nap again.
Unfortunate. I really think life is just such a valuable spell, especially in Lost Worlds. Its ability to be like a oh shoot button and get you out of really tough situations.
Also, life could be one of the most big saving graces of healing item rando, because if your revives roll like negative, they'll never sit back up, and it can be very frustrating at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think so.
Did Nate freeze?
Yeah, it should come back up here in a moment. There, center bit is down. And he is continuing to hammer away. Fitz hitting those arms fast and hard. Trying to take them out. Seed looking to finish at well under sub 120 on Nate's side with clean execution here. He's hammering away at that right bit. You've just got to try not to lose too many turns trying to heal and ether so that you can keep this damage hitting until that center bit comes back up. Fitz is one arm down on Lavos 2. Almost has that second arm down as well. Thank you all for the subs. We had a couple gift subs and a sub. There's more Jets of Time racing tomorrow when we hit, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, I think we hit the semifinals of the Gato Cup tomorrow. And that is an exciting race because that Gato Cup's been something to watch. Or something to kind of see how everyone's been improving and practicing. And I'm really excited to get to this live race phase. Nate continuing, taking out left bit.
Right bit should have about 4,800 HP. Center bit, and then right bit should still be at about 10. That
race tomorrow is at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Is that Top Pack versus Jazer? And tomorrow, is it also... Who all's in that race, Top Pack? I'll leave it for you to let me know. The defense coming back up temporarily. It will notice that left bit is down in just a moment. and pull the defense back down. Physics shebang as well. Yep. I was like, I couldn't remember if it was physics shebang or Jedi Master Zed, who's also been playing well. But it might be in the other group. But very exciting stuff. Gato Cup is always fun to watch. Oh, that's unfortunate. Nate leaving no Lavos left alive, looks like. Oh no, it brings the bits back as Fitz heads into Lavos 3. Nate wanting to make me a liar about this being a sub 120 seed for him.
But Lavos right bit only has about 3,000 left, so
Yeah, I think this is it. This move right here.
it was 32, and then yeah. And
All right, I'll get an official time here. It looks like Nate's official finish is a 119.41. So getting that sub 120 on a difficult seed with an early go mode. This is Lost Worlds played at its highest level by both of these runners. Because I don't want to step away from this without realizing, like, a sub 130 is a good Lost Worlds seed, almost no matter what the randomness is. Sub 130 is like, you played well, you dealt with things well. And so Fitz heading into this final fight at this time as well is stellar.
I'm going to switch to Fitz's audio so we can get to hear the song again.
Excellent. Fitz going for that center bit. You know I gotta throw out my big GG Giga Gaia for Nate's clean finish as OneFreeFritz continues hammering away at Lavos 3 here.
Fitz took out that center bit like with nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But both of these runners played amazingly.
Yeah, this is very nice for a finish as far as like both of these runners sub 30. We're gonna move this here real quick so y'all can see it a little better. But we both runners looking to get like sub 130s is great. And for there to be such little time difference with a long dungeon like Mount Woe in the mix is like, that shows how well Fitz was able to push his level advantage to skip stuff in the game. And so that is our lovely Lost Worlds Clash image made by our own Lord Batsy. And as we welcome Nate. Nate, how do you feel?
Yo, that was a pretty fun seed.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. That you had some interesting tools. I liked that you kept Ayla in your back pocket, knowing she had Dino Tail and that you could pull her out for elevator when you needed to.
Yeah, that's when I it was weird because on Elevator I saw that Boogie came up, and I kind of figured, well, that would be fantastic for Golem. And I know I put 2 speed taps on Luca, which does suck, but I just kind of figured that, like, I don't know, she'd probably be the better play. I went for that gamble. Gamble.
Well, you played excellently. What made you veer so far off of what your async play had been?
Just
out of curiosity, because your async play was very, like, high-tier dungeon second check, but you kind of sprinted at Eris and got rewarded for it. Were you just feeling like that team was going to not struggle with Eris compared to, like, a Genodome option?
Yeah, with Chrono's Lightning 2, we didn't have Luminaire for, like, Super Volt, so it's just both those places have high amounts of, like, hit points, like the Gargoyles in Mount Woe.
Mm-hmm.
And with the speed too, I didn't feel comfortable with that either.
Yeah.
And Genodome, like, those robots have 1,000 hit points, and there was no way that I felt that Lightning 2 was gonna, like, get that job done.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I just kind of figured that I'd probably just need a lot of grinding this seed by going to, like, Reptite Lair and hanging out there for a little bit.
Yeah, you didn't have a strong enough AoE to do, like, mutant grind. You had maybe the speed, but you didn't hit hard enough to, like, go do the mutant grind. Because Fritz gets hit with the cut HP in half move by Lavos 3 here. Fitz actually made up a lot of time on the tail end, because he did Woe second and got Pendant, and he found some great gear along the way. But he made up what felt like a lot of time between Tyranno and Single Golem.
Yeah.
But you were starting Lavos 3 when he got to the last save point, to give you an idea.
Oh wow, yeah, that's super close.
Yeah.
what was hanging up on Mount Woe, like the gear that he got?
Oh, it was
Terra Arm.
There were a number of things. Terra Arm.
Yeah, the Kali Blade that you got late. Yeah, that Kali Blade you got late. There was like 2 up there.
Yeah, and I think there was one in a sealed door too.
Yeah, and then the other safe helm was up there.
Oh yes. So it wasn't like in haste helm or anything like that, but there was some decent stuff. And then Pendant gave access to a few items, but nothing wild.
Dreamless. This can
but
hurt.
Pendant also sent Fitz straight to Aristome, so it almost gave him the direction to go mode. So
out of the 2 attacks that Lavos 3 could use, I'd rather see Dreamless than Grandstone.
Yes, I sure would. Now, Nate, you were racing, but you can see on your side of the screen of the feed here as Fitz finishes up, and we'll get an official time on his as well, as he finished with a 127.11. So both runners finishing sub 130 on a difficult seed, finding that same go mode and running it through. But what I started to say, Nate, is you'll see on your side of the screen, we have a logo for the Lost Worlds Clash that's going to be coming up in June. And so we're going to see what happens with that. But I think we're going to see this category's meta shift quite a bit, where we're going to see people trying new things.
And it's interesting, like, with Tech Rando too, with other people probably noticing in some other tournaments that we had, we, like, really didn't. Flare and all, like, Fire 2 and all that isn't as good whenever it rolls, like, a low MP cost. So it was pretty sweet to have these other techs to rely on too. Like, Uzi Punch was doing really solid. Even Chrono's Lightning. So it was nice to just see all these different kind of moves that we
Yeah,
can use.
a good lightning one means like Volt Bite is in play.
Mhm.
It's like all these weird moves like Spire. Like all of a sudden Spire's good. Like Spire's really good. And it's like that's crazy. I love for tech damage rando, like Leap Slash, for example, its vanilla value is 4 MP cost. There's a lot of room for improvement on that, and it's just a matter of what the seed gives you, and if you can find the dual text to make that work. But that's like half the fun of Lost Worlds for me with this flag set is like figuring out what's good each seed and trying to like use that as efficiently as I can. But you both played that excellently, as we're also joined by OneFreeFritz, our other runner. Fitz, how do you feel about that? That was kind of a wild one.
It was interesting. I was certainly disappointed to doom out well and get the pendant. I just felt like a lot of my time gambles didn't pay off. I also did the secret tunnel, and there was nothing good in.
Yeah, and it did not want to give you the secret tunnel either. Like it didn't. They did not want to dig. They were taking the day off. But you found some great loot along the way. But
that was
you
nice.
ended up pretty close, like time wise, having done a whole dungeon extra.
Yeah, that's kind of like when WoW doesn't pay off, especially because I fights that meant I wasn't gonna have to be mode.
Yeah, you made up a lot of time through Tyranno, all the way through single golem. You made up a lot of time in that space. So that was impressive to be able to finish that close.
And then just like tech wise, like I looked at the initial list and I'm like, well, I got Ayla. All right, cool, she's fast. Like, but then I looked at the tech list and I was like, these are kind of all. Fire Sword was going to be like what I needed to get my damage. Although Fire Punch was also.
Can we talk about Fire 2? Just sitting in that last spot, like it didn't even want to come to the party.
And it was really weak too. Like,
was it? I didn't catch it how high it had rolled, but it's just connected to so many important dual techs. Fire 1 rolled good.
No, I think it rolled at Fire 1 MP.
Yeah, it was like 4 MP, Fire 2.
Oh.
No, because Flare was 4, so maybe it was 6, but it was not good. Napalm was getting it really though. That was nice.
I find Mega Bomb rolls good a lot too.
And then I did like that Lavos 2 drop like some great gear that I could put on for Lavos 3. There was like a Vigil armor because I only had the money, or I only bought the one amulet, the time hats, and I'm glad that I did because the cold's slow. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, let's reset, put our time hat on. We tried to YOLO it, and it went. Yeah, but it wasn't like crazy power. So like, or the power levels were of control. So really, like, I went a little bit on the cautious. Like, well, let's just get some more levels. I think it was a good choice because close. That Lavos fight was not.
I feel like this seed was one of them where like some seeds will give you 1 or 2 techs that you have to work for, but once you get them, like they're incredible. I feel like you're right that like your power level was kind of in a weird spot, even end game, where like you had stuff that would get the job done, but you didn't have like old reliable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't have like one really super great tech that was doing like 4,500 or anything.
Yeah, and then just
rely with middle of the road stuff.
I was gonna say I don't think I broke 3K hit.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
But together with
you hit 29
double tech
a few times,
and then like either a Uzi punch or a confuse. Like the Cali, like I did get a Cali blade off of bow, and there were like 8 later. Yeah. So I was like, well, there not an edge there, and then what was the like all of the like good armors. Like all the tap and stuff rolled like -3. All of the like the males I saw were minus. The arms I saw were minus. So like the gear rando also seems to like roll more on the minus side overall. So it was kind of one where like a lot of things lined up. So we had to like go deeper into the bag of tricks, which is always fun, and it was still a close race and
Yeah, you played really
fun
well. I always
showcasing
tell
off
people
mode.
anytime like people always ask like what a good run is for different categories. And it's really hard to answer that sometimes. For Lost Worlds, I think it's pretty simple. If you get under a 130, that's a pretty good run, right? Like that's a pretty good run. And if like the closer you to get to like 115, like the more amazing of a run it's been. But like is really like it becomes very execution based because it's not like a regular seed where like you can end up on like a long run of gambles. You can really only take a couple gambles as far as like dungeons go. And
Yeah.
like you said, Fitz, like you weren't thrilled to get the pendant, but like you got a lot of levels. You had like Nate had to grind the entire time you were doing WoW. Most of it, Nate was grinding Reptite to be
Yeah.
ready to fight like the next boss. So
Yeah.
like you didn't have to do almost any of that because those extra levels. So it's just really interesting. I'm interested to see how different people tackle these asyncs coming up. Because during the race, the Lost Worlds Clash event got announced, and we will have some info on the Discord about that. But thank everybody for giving up their time to race, to commentate with me, Cryo, to restream. Pyrexia helped so much with getting everything set up on that and letting us even get this up on the Jets of Time channel. Thank you to Ansky for adding Lost World 6 years ago. And hopefully everybody has a fantastic night. If this is something that looks like fun and you had a good time, there's a current Lost Worlds async that you could join, see how you place with everybody else. And then hopefully I'll see some of you for the Lost Worlds Clash coming up in June.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun time. But thank you all for coming, and we will see you tomorrow for the Gato Cup semifinals. And that should be a good time as well, as Tout Pack takes on Jazer and... Sorry, I gotta...
Physics shebang.
Physics Shebang, thank you. I was like, I have to scroll up because somebody just told me the name. Yes, and that should be an excellent match. And so hopefully we'll see everybody for that. And 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So thank you all for joining, and we will catch you next time.
Have a good night.